U.S. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for coronavirus and will be in quarantine, the president announced on Friday morning, 2nd of October. At 74 years old and obese, Trump falls into the highest risk category for serious complications from the disease, which has killed more than 200,000 Americans and more than 1 million people worldwide. Shortly before 1 a.m. Friday, Trump tweeted, "Tonight, F. Lotus and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together." Later, the First Lady wrote on Twitter that she and her husband were feeling good. The announcement came a few hours after the White House announced that one of the president's closest advisors, Hicks, tested positive for COVID-19. Earlier in the day, Trump said during a Fox News interview that he and the First Lady spent a lot of time with Hicks. Hicks, who travels regularly with the president on Air Force One along with other senior aides, accompanied him to Ohio for the first presidential debate on Tuesday and joined him in Minnesota for a campaign event the next day. The White House Dr. Sean Conley said Trump will continue carrying out his duties without disruption while recovering, according to a statement carried out by the Associated Press. He also said that the president and the First Lady are both well and they will quarantine.
The important thing now, obviously, is monitoring him closely and the First Lady to make sure that they're not developing any symptoms. And one of the most important symptoms that you want to measure is any difficulty breathing. And even if you don't have difficulty breathing, if it's during an infectious time period. Okay, so generally when we talk about people who test positive or are symptomatic, we call that isolation. And CDC guidelines state that you should be isolated for at least 10 days. People who are close contacts of those who test positive, so their close contacts, should be quarantined for 14 days. Well, remember, one of the puzzling things track for your lungs. COVID-19 can go beyond that. It can affect blood vessels. It can affect our brain, our kidneys, our heart. And so it's really important that the physicians really look at the entire body and make sure that everything is functioning okay. And, sometimes mild symptoms initially can turn more severe after about 7 days of illness. So it really depends where he is in the time course of infection, which we don't know at this point. So I think close vigilance is most important. So the CDC recommends that anyone who has been within 6 feet and for longer than 15 minutes should be tested. Okay? You mentioned something very important, that there was yelling. And with yelling, you can generate what we call aerosols. And that can spread from beyond a 6 feet radius. So former Vice President Biden should definitely be tested. And I believe Chris Wallace should as well, even though they're beyond the 6 foot radius.